to another episode of the Sean Farrell podcast. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. Okay. So, I saw this. Just this morning. Okay. I saw where Oklahoma's soaring suicide rates placed the state in top 10 nationally. Okay. And I was like, after reading that article, I got to talk about this. Have to. Oklahoma suicide rate is 60% higher than the national average and ranks in the top 10 for suicide and suicidality, a report found. The Healthy Minds Policy Initiative found that nearly 8,000, I kid you not, 8,000 Oklahomans died between 2013 and 2022, which equates to 2 lives lost per day over a decade. Okay. Most were gun-related deaths. Oklahoma's rate of 21 suicide deaths per 100,000 people is well over the national rate of 14 for every 100,000, according to the report. Common sense solutions like reducing access to lethal options and increasing mental health screenings. The guy's name is Zach Stoikoff, Executive Director of the Nonpartisan Group of Policy and Mental Health Experts, Common Sense Solutions. What we can learn is circumstances contributing to suicide and how complex that issue is. When we talk about the epidemic of suicide, we're talking about the suffering and circumstances that lead to suicidality. I have trouble pronouncing that word, forgive me. I have to say it more slowly. Suicidality, and not just the deaths themselves. Suicidal ideation would be the more easier thing to say, okay? 10,000 people a year are hospitalized because of suicidal ideation. Hospitalizations for suicide-related visits cost Oklahoma $139 million in 2022. Areas of Oklahoma with poor broadband access correlated with higher rates of suicidal ideation, the report found. Many of these counties were in southeast Oklahoma. Push Mataha County. I probably butchered that. Sorry if I did. Had the highest suicide death rate. Lack of access to services and communities. But Oklahoma is doing pretty well in expanding the broadband access. CDC says reported in 2024 that suicide rates were 44% lower in counties where homes have broadband internet access. Suicide does affect everybody in Oklahoma. Suicide does affect everybody, but in Oklahoma, suicide is a rural issue. I mean, we're seeing the largest suicide rates in rural counties, and we have to look at how to expand our reach of services in rural counties. Healthy Minds also says start a mental health awareness month, also detailed trends and suicide rates by age, gender, race, contributing social environmental factors, and the history of mental health problems and treatment. Around 43% of people who died by suicide in Oklahoma between 2013 and 2022 had a known problem with mental health, and a third were perceived by themselves or others to be depressed. Just a quarter were in treatment for a mental health or substance use problem at the time of their death. Um, Universal screening for mental health issues and suicidal ideation could be a way to catch these issues early. When you go to your healthcare provider or primary care physician, they're going to check your vital signs, which I had done just several weeks ago. Need to treat mental health as a vital sign. It needs to be part of how we practice medicine, because the primary care is for the entire body and the brain is part of the body. Ah, ooh, ah, Lord have mercy. The report found that over 7% of Oklahomans between 15 and 24 made plans to attempt. 4.5% of children ages 12 to 17 attempted in 2021 and 2022. The rates of death by suicide for Native American Oklahomans surpassed white Oklahomans for the first time since 2020. Legislators have been very supportive in passing position in recent years. I think we can appreciate the effort of mental health nonprofit providers who have expanded access to services. Many more people are being treated for mental health needs now than were being treated even a decade ago. It means the providers are trying to step up to meet the rising demand. Okay. Yeah, so that is just crazy. Okay. That's just crazy. 60% higher than the national average. Okay. That's insane. Okay. That's insane. And it's sad and heartbreaking too. Okay. And this is why I talk about suicide and the need to talk about it more, not just in secret, but not in secret. Speak about it online. Speak about it in public. Okay. Um, no, it's still a tricky subject. It's still being treated as a tricky subject even today in 2025, because a lot of people who call the 988 suicide prevention lifeline. Okay. One of the main things that they always say is, my mom doesn't understand, my dad doesn't understand, my friends don't get hit it. Okay. They don't take the time to understand where I come from. Okay. And I've talked about it before, how saying the wrong thing when someone is having a mental fire, it's turn a small mental fire into a full-blown blaze that they can't put out. And the only way they can put out that blaze is by suicide. Okay. Putting out a small mental fire that they have in their head by just taking the time to listen to them and understand what they're going through. Putting out that small mental fire, but just by a fire extinguisher. Okay. When I say fire extinguisher, just taking the time to listen to them, understand them, and their point of view, as opposed to just using toxic positivity to find quick solutions. Just like throwing gasoline on the fire when you use toxic positivity. Okay. And you just try to offer simple solutions. Okay. That's throwing gasoline on the fire. And so we just need to have more conversations. Okay. We need to have more conversations. And let me just say this. If anybody out there who is watching this, okay, if anybody out there who's watching this, your friends don't understand, your friends don't want to understand where you're coming from, your family doesn't understand where you're coming from, or they're offering quick solutions to the problem instead of actually taking the time to understand you, okay? Hey, tell people this all the time. Don't hesitate to call 988, okay? Do not hesitate to call 988 because again, 988 is a safe space for you to talk about everything that the people you come to, people you expect to be there for you the most, who don't understand. Okay. It's a safe space to talk about what you are feeling and what you are going through without judgment. There's no judgment, just empathy, compassion, understanding. Okay. No judgment, just empathy, compassion, understanding, kindness. Okay. Okay. And because the person that you talk to, because the person took the time to, well, we can save a lot of lives. We can save a lot of lives, okay? If we just don't judge, just have understanding, empathy, compassion, and kindness, okay? We can save a lot more lives that way, okay? By taking the time to understand a person who is suicidal, okay? They can go on for, they can go on. They can continue to go on for another day, okay? Because this person took the time to understand me and hear me completely out, okay? And they didn't judge, right? We can save a lot more lives that way, okay? And but apparently not everybody thinks that way, okay? Not everybody thinks that way. And again, don't hesitate to call 988, okay? It is a safe space for whatever you want to talk about and for whatever you are feeling, okay? And again, if you are suicidal, hey, don't hesitate to call 988. You matter. You are loved, okay? And you are more than enough. And don't let anybody else ever tell you differently, okay? All right, that's it. That's all. Peace out. God bless. Be blessed, y'all. You matter.